Good day, everyone. I am Bernard Villegas. We're here to discuss what is Presidential Decree Number 705, also known as the Revised Forestry Code of the Philippines. First, let us know what is Presidential Decree Number 705. Presidential Decree Number 705 was signed by President Ferdinand E. Marcos on May 19, 1975. It revises the earlier Forestry Reform Code, or Presidential Decree Number 389, to address the growing challenges related to the management, protection, and utilization of forest lands in the Philippines. This revised decree provides a more effective framework for managing the country's forest resources, ensuring that these lands are used sustainably to meet the demands of growing population, while also prioritizing their protection and rehabilitation. Why is Presidential Decree Number 705 is important? Presidential Decree Number 705 is important because it promotes sustainable resources management, ensuring that the forest lands remain productive for future generations through reforestation, protection, and responsible management. It addresses the growing demand for natural resources by balancing current and future needs without harming the environment. The decree also emphasized environmental protection by rehabilitation and maintaining forests to continue providing ecological services like climate regulation and water conservation. Therefore, Presidential Decree Number 705 creates a balance between economic development and environmental health, ensuring that forests are wisely used and preserved for future generations. Ngayon naman, alamin natin ang pagkakaiba ng Presidential Decree Number 705 sa Presidential Decree Number 389. Here are the differences between Presidential Decree Number 705 and Presidential Decree Number 389. First, on focusing on sustainability, Presidential Decree Number 389 focus only on utilizing forest resources for immediate economic gain, while Presidential Decree Number 705 emphasizes sustainability management, including protection, rehabilitation, and long-term productivity. Second, on environmental protection, Presidential Decree Number 389 gave a little attention to forest protection, while Presidential Decree Number 705 prioritized environmental protection, ensuring that forest provides ecological services like climate regulation. Third, on comprehensive management, Presidential Decree Number 389 focused mainly on resource utilization, while Presidential Decree Number 705 introduced a holistic approach addressing classifications, protection, and sustainable use. Lastly, on support for long-term growth, Presidential Decree Number 389 focus on immediate needs without long-term planning, katulad nga nung kanina sa pag-focus sa sustainability. While Presidential Number 705 established a framework for long-term forest management. Now, let's proceed on the content of Presidential Decree Number 705, also known as the Revised Forestry Code of the Philippines. Section 1, the title of this code. This decree shall be known as the Revised Forestry Code of the Philippines. On Section 2, it discusses about the policies. It says that the state shall adopt the following policies. First policy is multiple use of forest lands. Sabi dito na forest lands will support national development, science, and public welfare. The second policy is land classification and surveys. The state shall organize and speed up the land classification and land surveys. The third one is wood processing plants. Sabi na ang wood processing plants will be encouraged and optimized. Fourth is protection and rehabilitation. It focuses on protection, development, and rehabilitation of forest lands for long-term productivity. Section 3 is the definition of the words na maaari nating makasalubong sa pag-aaral natin sa Presidential Decree Number 705. First is public forests. These are the lands that haven't been classified yet to determine if they are needed for forest purposes. Permanent forests are yung mga forest reserves. These are the lands classified as necessary for forest purposes. Alienable and disposable lands. These are the land classified as not needed for forest purposes. Forest lands. It includes the public forest, permanent forest, and forest reserves. Grazing lands. Ito yung mga lands na suitable para sa pagpapalaki ng mga livestock. Mineral lands. These are the lands classified as mineral resources. Now let's go to the chapter 1, the organization and jurisdiction of the Bureau. Section 4, the creation of the Bureau of the Forest Development. This is the content of Section 4. The Bureau of the Forest Development is created by merging the Bureau of Forestry, Reforestation Administration, Southern Cebu Reforestation Project, and the Parks and Wildlife of ICE, along with their resources and staffs. Section 5, the jurisdiction of the Bureau. It contains that the Bureau has control over forest lands, grazing lands, and forest reservations. It is responsible for protection and reforesting the areas, overseeing forest product use, and enforcing rules in national parks, wildlife, and conservations. Section 6, Director and Assistant Director Qualifications. The Bureau is led by a director and one or more assistant directors. appointed by the President. They must be a Filipino citizen, 30 years old, with a bachelor's degree in forestry or related fields and registered foresters. Section 7, the supervision and control. It says that the Bureau is controlled by the Secretary of the Department of Natural Resources. Section 11, the manpower development. The Bureau will set up a training center to improve the skills of current and new employees. It will also provide funds for staff to get further education, training locally or abroad. Section 12, the performance evaluation. The Bureau will create a system to assess employee performance approved by the department head. This system will track work quality and quantity and include regular inspections. It will help the progress reports, training needs, awards, and decision of transfer of these. Section 13, the system of land classification. It says here that the department head will create rules to classify public lands into categories like agricultural, residential, or forest lands. For now, lands needed for forests will be reserved as forest lands, while others will be handled by the Bureau of Lands. Mangroves and swamps for the fish funds will be managed by the Bureau of Fisheries. Section 14, the pasture lease in forest lands. It says here that forest land with pasture lease will stay as forest land until reclassified as grazing land. Alam naman natin yung grazing land ay grazing land. Section 16, areas needed for forest purposes. Some lands, even with less than 18% slope, cannot be classified as alienable and disposable because kailangan sila for forest purposes. Ito yung mga characteristic ng mga areas na yun. Areas under 250 hectares form from the alienable land. Small forest patches or areas protecting communal springs o yung mga reforested areas. Timbered lands in forest concession for wood processing plants. Pitch tops and plateaus where headwater starts. Road rights of way. 20-meter strips along rivers and streams. 20-meter strips of mangroves and swamplands along shorelines. Areas for national parks, historical sites, and wildlife sanctuaries. Areas already declared by the President as forest reserve or yung national parks. If any of those lands are privately owned, the government may cancel or amend titles if needed for public interest. Chapter 3, Utilization and Management. Section 19, Multiple Use. Forest resources can only be used if they benefit the country and cause little harm. Logging is banned in the key watersheds and national parks. Section 20, License Agreement, License, Lease, or Permit. No one can use forest lands or set up wood processing plants without proper authorization through a license, lease, or permit. Section 21, Sustain Yield. Forest resources should be used in a way that maintains a balance between growth and harvest to ensure sustainability. Section 23, Timber Inventory. The Bureau will keep track of timber and young trees in all forests until a full inventory is completed. Section 24, Required Inventory prior to timber utilization. Timber cannot be harvested without a recent or within 5 years inventory of at least 5% of the land or a reliable estimate. Section 25, Cutting Cycle. A scientific cutting cycle will be used to ensure that enough healthy trees are left for future harvest and forest growth. Section 26, Annual Allowable Cut. The annual amount of timber that can be cut will be based on the cutting cycle, the amount of harvestable timbers, and the health of the remaining trees. Section 26, Duration of license to harvest timber. A timber harvesting license depends on how much a timber can be cut each year, the cutting cycle, and how well the land can be grown. The license ends if all the timber is used up and no usable land is left. The license can last up to 25 years and can be renewed for another 25 years if needed. The license holder must also replant trees in the area as required. Section 28, Size of the forest concessions. Forest land is not permanent. The area allowed for timber harvesting depends on how well it can be managed for 50 years. The license holder must also meet local processing needs. Concessions are reviewed for proper management and reforestation. Section 33, Forest land to be reforested. Ito yung mga areas na kailangan nataniman ulit para maiwasan yung soil erosion at ma-improve yung productivity. Steep or erodible lands, brushy or glassy lands that need improvement, open areas with steep slopes, denuded areas like watershed, parks, and historical sites, forest areas with too few trees, pasture lands with a slope over 50%, riverbanks, roads, and former riverbeds. Yan yung mga area na yun. Section 34, Industrial Tree Plantations and Tree Farms. Leases for industrial tree plantations or yung 1,000 hectares or tree farms or yung 100 hectares can be granted for up to 25 years with possible 25 years renewal. The leasing must be developed the land and areas in critical watershed cannot be leased. Smaller areas can be leased to several people if developed together as a cooperative. Reforestation projects can also be turned in tree plantations. Section 35. People with timber or pasture leases have the first chance to establish tree farms on their land. However, they must act quickly or the area will be available to others. Section 36. Incentives for tree farming. It includes a small filing fee of 0.50 per hectare, no rental fees for the first 5 years, then low fees afterward, exemption from rental fees for denuded lands, a 6% fee of timber products, free seedling and healthy development, no sales tax on timber products, Industrial tree plantations can get a tax benefit. No exchange to lease boundaries once set. No tax on loans for development. Additional help may be given for difficult to reach areas. The money collected will help fund reforestation and other development products. Letter D. Forest Protection, Section 37. Protection for forest resources. All efforts must be made to protect forest resources from damage or loss. Section 38. Control of concession areas. Timber can only be harvested if in licensed concession areas. License holders have exclusive right to harvest and must protect the land. If they choose not to use certain timber species, others can be allowed to harvest those species, but must also follow protection rules. Section 39. Regulation of timber utilization. Timber harvesting or wood processing plants on private and other lands must be regulated to prevent illegal activity. A license or permit is required for all timber use. Section 40. Timber inventory on other lands. Before harvesting timber on private lands or other specified lands, a full inventory of standing and felled timber must be done. Section 41. Sworn Timber Inventory Reports. Timber inventory reports must be signed and sworn by the forest officer who conducted them. Section 41. Sworn Timber Inventory Reports. Timber inventory report must be signed and sworn by the forest officer who conducted them. Section 42. Development of alienable lands. The privilege to harvest timber from alienable lands will be given to those who can help develop and manage the land according to the government's plan. The amount of timber to be harvested determines how much participation is allowed. Section 43. Swamplands and mangrove forests. Mangrove forests and coastal swamps must be protected for flood control and shoreline defense. These areas cannot be developed for other purposes, and abandoned fish pond areas will return to forest land after 5 years. Section 44. Visitorial power. The department head or someone they appoint can inspect records and operation of license holder to ensure they follow the rules and laws. Section 45. Authority of forest officers. Forest officers will and authorized government officials can enter licensed areas to do their duties. They can also take oaths, gather testimonies, and lead investigations. Section 42. Development of alienable lands. The privilege to harvest timber from alienable lands will be given to those who can help develop and manage the land according to the government's plan. The amount of timber to be harvested determines how much participants is allowed. Section 43. Swamplands and mangrove forests. Mangrove forests and coastal swamps must be protected for flood control and shoreline defense. These areas cannot be developed for other purposes, and abandoned fish ponds areas will return to forest land after 5 years. Section 44. Visitorial power. The department head or someone they appoint can inspect records and operation of license holders to ensure they follow the laws and rules. Section 45. Authority of forest officers. Forest officers and authorized government officials can enter licensed areas to do their duties. They can also take oaths, gather testimonies, and lead investigations. Section 46. Scaling stations. The Bureau will set up control stations at timber outlets to check if timber and forest products are legally harvested. Mining operations. Mining in forest land must protect their other resources. Mining in forest reserves needs approval from the director and license holders. Mining waste must be filtered to protect the environment, and mined areas must be restored after use. Section 48. Mineral reservations. Mineral reserves not used for mining will be managed by the Bureau. If mining or resources are depleted, the area will return to the forest land unless designated otherwise. Section 49. Roads and infrastructure. Building roads or infrastructure in forest land should cause minimal damage to forest resources. Government agencies must coordinate with the Bureau to avoid harming forests. License holders need approval before building roads and must transfer ownership to the government when their license ends. Section 50. Logging roads. Logging roads must be carefully planned to reduce damage to trees and soil. They should meet logging needs while protecting the forest. Section 51. Management of forest land occupancy. The Bureau will manage forest land occupancy and decide which areas can be used for agroforestry. Occupants must protect forest resources. If occupancy causes harm, like erosion or loss of water, it won't be allowed. In steep areas, over 50% slope, occupants must plant trees or take other protective steps. Section 52. Census of occupants in forest lands. No one can enter or farm in forest lands without a permit. A complete census will be taken of all people living or farming in these areas, whether legal or not, to assess the damage caused of the forest. Other agencies and permit holders may help with the census. Section 53. Criminal prosecution. People farming in the forest land without permits before the law takes effect won't be prosecuted if they don't expand their land. They must follow a conservation plan set by the Bureau within 2 months after being notified. Section 54. Pasture in forest lands. Forest lands with slope 50% cannot be used for grazing or yung pagpapalaki ng mga livestock. Pastures land must have enough grass to protect the soil and water. If not, trees or other plants should be added. Section 54, pasture in forest lands. Forest lands with slope over 50% cannot be used for grazing or yung pagpapalaki ng mga livestock. Pasture lands must have enough grass to protect the soil and water. If not, trees or other plants should be added. The rules will decide how much land can be used for pasture and other special purposes. Section 55, wildlife. Wildlife can be killed without a permit if it is necessary for safety or health. The director can also regulate the killing of wildlife in the forest to keep a healthy balance between animals and plants. Section 56, Recreation. The Bureau will protect scenic forest areas for tourism and recreation. It will also build necessary facilities for outdoor activities funded by fees and government. Section 57, Other special uses of forest lands. Forest lands can be leased or permitted for up to 25 years for uses like sawmills, logging camps, or recreational facilities, as long as these do not harm the forest resources. F. Qualifications. Section 58. Diffusion of benefits. The privilege to use forest lands or run wood processing plants should be given to as many qualified applicants as possible. Section 59. Citizenship. Corporations should have more Filipino ownership. If two applicants are equally qualified, the one with more Filipino participation will be preferred. Section 60. Financial and technical capability. Applicants must prove that they have financial resources and skills to manage forest use, while also protecting and conserving the forest for the long term. Section 61, Transfers. License holders cannot transfer their rights without approval. Transfers are only allowed if the transferor has followed all rules and the new applicant is qualified. The transferor will be banned from getting another license. Section 62, Service Contracts. License holders can enter into service contracts with foreign entities to help the forest development for a fee. Existing valid contracts are recognized. Section 63, Equity Sharing. Corporations holding forest license must sell at least 20% of their stock to employees within 1 year. The sale must be completed within 6 years of operation. Corporations must submit a plan to the department head to take this happen. Letter G, Regulatory Fees. Section 64, Charges, Fees, and Bans. The department head, with the director's advice, will set fees and charges for activities in the forest lands, such as using or occupying them. This will include fees for uplogging, renewing licenses, and other services. Timber taken from the private lands for commercial use won't be charged forest fees. 65. Authority to impose additional fees. Authority to impose additional fees. The department head, in consultation with the director and industries, can add new fees for forest protection, management, and development. The money collected will be placed in a special fund for these activities. Section 66, Collection and Disbursement. The director will collect and send the fees to the National Treasury. Fees for additional activities will go into a special revolving fund. The department head can use this fund based on approved budget for specific forest programs. Section 67, Basis of Assessment. Charges for timber removed from the forest lands will be based on 3 measurements. Until new rules are made, the current method in the National Internal Revenue Code will be used. The director may set new fees based on the production and market studies, but they can't be lower the current rates. Chapter 4, Criminal Offenses and Penalties. 68. Cutting, gathering, or collecting timber without license. Anyone who cuts or collects timber or forest product without a proper license is guilty of theft. For companies, the officer responsible will be punished. The timber and equipment used will be seized by the government. If a licensed person cuts timber from another area, they will lose their license and be permanently disqualified from getting a new one. Section 69, Unlawful Occupations or Destruction of Forest Land. Anyone who occupies or destroys forest land without permission will be fined between 500 pesos and 20,000 pesos and face jail time for 6 months to 2 years. If they practice slash and burn farming, they will face higher penalties. They must leave the land and forfeit any improvements made. Government workers involved will be fined and banned from the holding office. 70. Pasturing livestock without permission. Anyone who grazes livestock or on forest land without a permit will be fined, have their livestock seized, and face imprisonment for 6 months to 2 years. Section 71. Illegal actions in national parks. Anyone who damages or removes resources from the national parks without permission will be fined between 200 pesos and 500 pesos. They must also pay for any restoration. Anyone who hunts or harms wildlife in the parks will face the same penalties. The fine may be shared with the local government if they help to catch the violator. If it's 72, destruction of wildlife resources. Anyone who violates wildlife protection rules will be fined at least 100 pesos and banned from getting permit for 3 years. Section 73, Unauthorized surveying of forest land. Anyone who surveys forest land without a permit will be imprisoned for 2 to 4 years, and their equipment will be confiscated. Or misclassifying forest land. Government employees who misclassify land will be fined at least 1,000 pesos and jailed for at least 1 year. The misclassification will be cancelled. 73. Unauthorized surveying of forest land. Anyone who surveys forest land without a permit will be imprisoned for 2 to 4 years and their equipment will be confiscated. Section 74, Misclassifying Forest Land. Government employees who misclassify land will be fined at least 1,000 pesos and jailed for at least 1 year. The misclassification will be cancelled. Section 75, Tax Declaration without a proper certification. Anyone who issues a tax declaration for land without proper certification will be jailed for 2 to 4 years and banned from holding office. Section 76, Coercion of Government Workers. Anyone who forces a government worker to wrongly classify land will be fined 500 pesos for each hectare and jailed for at least 1 year. Section 78, Failure to pay or remit forest charges. Anyone who fails to pay forest charges will be fined 25% of the amount owed. Those who delay or misuse funds will face fines up to 100,000 pesos and imprisonment for up to 6 years.